for the season.
Oh, for the
Anthony
season.
Richardson, since he's starting
Okay.
week 1, starting at the beginning of the season, we know that now. So will he lead the NFL in interceptions for the season 40-1?
Okay, that makes way more sense. Let's go. 40-1's not bad. Not a bad number there. You may find something a little bit better if I were to shop around a little bit, but if he's starting week 1, and certainly the Colts want to have him for the duration of the season, not to mention he'll probably have a couple of good outings. I mean, the biggest thing with him is how green is he? How raw is he? Certainly the athletic component suggests that he could be the best athlete out there at the quarterback position. That's certainly within the realm of possibilities. The question is, how is he processing defenses? I don't know that. There's a possibility that it's not very good. You would think that Shane Steichen would sort of keep things relatively conservative for him, but maybe there's a reason to take some risks. So 40-1, I think I'm okay with that, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, my initial thought is it's a great number. I don't see a situation where they would go back to Gardner Minshew. So the only thing really would be as if he didn't play the entire season. You would think as a rookie, he would be up there with the most interceptions. So yeah, I think at 40-1, it's a good play.
And I also think, like, again, the number has been around 15 for the last couple seasons. Like, if a couple 3 interception games, and those stack up pretty quickly. So interesting to look at.
I was looking at one that I do think you may not find as good of a number, just because Cowboys are a very public team if they do get off to a hot start, but 6-1 for the conference is definitely interesting. If you think this Cowboys team is going to be good and get the playoff woes off their back, so to speak. I mean, that's the big knock that people remember, and it's hard to trust them. But gosh, it feels like we say it every year. This Cowboys team is so talented, and they are. I mean, they really are this year. There's no denying that. A lot of Zeke's touchdowns also come inside the 10-yard line, and I was looking, we're a betting show, at his rushing touchdown prop, 4.5 for the season, and it seems like that's where he's comfortable. Another interesting number was 375.5 total rushing yards for the season. Even if he's not going to be carrying the load, obviously Ramondre Stevenson will be, but some of those teams that the Pats have to play, it's cold. They're going to have to run the ball. Do you see him going over either one of those props?
I do. I think those are actually pretty generous, if I'm being honest. And I know that may sound kind of funky because for people following the Patriots, their offensive line hasn't been great in training camp. But a really important thing to note in that situation, obviously, like running backs are one thing, but you need good run blocking as well. You know, there's a symbiotic relationship. So a lot of the Patriots' offensive linemen have really been held out of practice because the team has been extremely cautious because of how valuable offensive linemen are now more than ever, because once you get to backups, pretty much every team is really struggling for even like starting caliber talent or anything even resembling that. So, you know, Trent Brown saw his first action in padded practices where they were really competing yesterday. Cole Strange had a left leg injury, seemed fine, like he was doing all the drills, like he was exploding immediately afterwards, but they're clearly holding him out to be very cautious. Obviously their first round pick last year. David Andrews has been solid. Mike Onwenu, who's their best offensive lineman, I think head and shoulders, is on the PUP list. You don't know when he's going to be coming back, but when he is, he's one of the best run blockers in football, especially in their more downhill-oriented scheme. Right tackle is a bit of a question mark, but I think Riley Reed, especially as a run blocker, is more than competent. And they've got a few guys there that can rotate. So I think Zeke is more than capable of getting four rushing touchdowns is pretty generous. I think he's going to get more than that, especially they have a much better red zone offense with Devontae Parker, Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, if he's able to come back and be healthy. He suffered an injury yesterday to his arm. We're not sure what the status is there. But, I would hit those bets because those seem like good numbers for Ezekiel Elliott and a backfield where it's Ramondre Stevenson and then a lot of unproven guys.
And Carpuck, BetQL model, BetQL.com has a whole article about how Tanner Mordecai could be a sleeper Heisman candidate at 120-1. Let's go or hell no, Ed.
Let's go Tanner Mordecai. First off, he plays quarterback in the Big Ten, so right away you got to pay attention to him. To me, when it comes to Heisman, and this is something I know I'll talk about later in the week, but when it comes to picking your Heisman bets, first off, you don't want to necessarily look high on the board, but you're also trying to find those quarterbacks who are in new, unique situations because you're really looking for outliers more than anything else. Mordecai did some great things on the hilltop at SMU, going to a great situation in Wisconsin. And if the Badgers do challenge Michigan and Ohio State for the conference, it'll be because Mordecai went off. And so chances are you're going to get a way better number for Mordecai to win the Heisman than for Wisconsin to win the Big Ten, something like that. So to me, that's the right bet if you are backing Wisconsin in some way to go crazy. Let's go on Tanner Mordecai.
See, I was going to say the opposite. No one from Wisconsin is winning the Heisman. Like, let's not – who are we kidding here? A lot of these winners have been from, like, household name schools, USC, Alabama, LSU, Oklahoma. You got to go back to Lamar with Louisville, and then it's back to Alabama, Oregon, Florida State, Texas A&M. Yeah, I'm out. No one from Wisconsin's winning a Heisman this year.
This is more philosophical than it is specific to Tulane, but I do wonder with Cincinnati making the college football playoff just a couple of years ago, what the perspective is when it comes to group of five programs in that, yeah, Tulane came off of an impressive win, and you have had like Houston and Boise State have impressive victories the year before, things like that, but eventually you get compared with the big boys. And I don't even know if Ole Miss is considered, yeah, it's an SEC school, and Ole Miss, should go bowling and may very well finish in the top 15, something like that. But I don't know if we consider Ole Miss as one of the elite programs where if Tulane beats them, then suddenly they are, looking like a team that can challenge Georgia for the national championship. I still feel like that for, say, a Tulane or any group of five to get into the top 10, top 5, they also need help by having everyone else be mediocre. One of the things that I wanted to point out from Matt Brown from The Athletic, he says that since 1989, 15.5 preseason, or an average of 15.5 preseason ranked teams have finished in the top 25. So chances are roughly 10 teams currently in the preseason top 25 will not be there by season's end. So who are the candidates? TCU makes a whole lot of sense to me with a different offensive coordinator. You could have a team in the top 10 like a Washington fall out altogether. Wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma falls out, depending on how things play out. But that matters a great deal that, yeah, these preseason rankings, yes, remember them. Keep them in your priors. But they are going to shift as well, but you don't want to overreact to it once the regular season comes around.